King Herod executes John the Baptist and hears about Jesus. When Jesus had finished directing his 12 disciples, he departed from there to teach and preach in their cities. Now at that time, King Herod the Tetrarch heard this report concerning Jesus and of all that was done by him, for his name had become known, and he was very perplexed, because it was said by some that John had risen from the dead, and by some that Elijah had appeared, and by others that one of the old prophets had risen again. But Herod said, I beheaded John, but who is this about whom I hear such things? And Herod, when he heard this, said to his servants, This is John the Baptizer, whom I beheaded. He is risen from the dead. John the Baptizer has risen from the dead, and therefore that is why these powers are at work in him. He sought to see him. But others said, He is Elijah. Others said, He is a prophet, or like one of the prophets. For Herod himself had sent out and arrested John, bound him, and put him in prison for the sake of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, for he had married her. For John had said to Herod, It is not lawful for you to have her, your brother's wife. When he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude, because they counted him as a prophet. Herodias set herself against him and desired to kill him, but she couldn't, for Herod feared John, knowing that he was a righteous and holy man, and kept him safe. When he heard him, he did many things, and he heard him gladly. But then a convenient day came when Herod on his birthday made a supper for his nobles, the high officers, and the chief men of Galilee. When Herod's birthday came, the daughter of Herodias herself came in and danced among them, and she pleased Herod and those sitting with him. Therefore he promised with an oath to give her whatever she should ask. The king said to the young lady, Ask me whatever you want, and I will give it to you. He swore to her, Whatever you ask of me, I will give you, up to half of my kingdom. She went out and said to her mother, What shall I ask? She said, The head of John the Baptizer. She, being prompted by her mother, came in immediately with haste to the king and requested, saying, I want you to give me here right now the head of John the Baptizer on a platter. The king was grieved and exceedingly sorry, but for the sake of his oaths and of those who sat at the table with him, his dinner guests, he didn't wish to refuse her. He commanded it to be given, and immediately the king sent out a soldier of his guard and commanded to bring John's head, and he went and beheaded John in the prison. And his head was brought on a platter and given to the young lady, and she brought it to her mother and the young lady gave it to her mother. When his disciples heard this, they came and took up his corpse, took the body, and laid it in a tomb, and buried it. Then they went and told Jesus.